that one belief eliminated from your brain could change the course of your reality. Would you want that? It's not for everyone, only the brave. Those who want to own their life like the powerful leaders they were born to be. A pivotal moment can change everything. Now, here's the host of Crossroads to Awakening show, Wendy Paquette.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crossroads to Awakening show. I'm your host, Wendy Paquette, and I'm a holographic mind reprogrammer. I help women stuck at a crossroads totally shift wherever they're at to where they'd like to be by changing the programs that are stuck in their mind. Because I believe as a high-frequency human, you can see your life as a direct reflection of the programs etched into your brain, and those can be easily shifted when you see the truth for what it is. So if you'd like to access your true self, find me on Facebook at Crossroads to Awakening show and send me a message. Let's get your party started. So welcome from wherever you're listening from today on this beautiful, beautiful August 10th day of 2020. We're having an incredible show topic today. It's called High Vibe Connection. And as anyone who knows me or has been listening to the show or has any familiarity with me at all, you know that high vibe anything is how you reach new levels in your life. And that is directly related to the programs that are held in your brain. And so high vibe connection is the key, in my perspective, to greater abundance. It creates abundance in every which way from Sunday. For me, at least, it was one of my most powerful breakthroughs in my life when I learned the power of a deep connection. And so today I've brought with me an incredible human who is the queen of connection. She gets to show people what it feels like, what it looks like, and that you don't even have to be in the same area to connect on a very high vibe level. Excuse me. So I'd like to welcome Journey Jill, and here's what she's all about. Journey Jill is a global citizen, a warrioress of light change agent. And I'm going to reread that, re-enlighten that with, she is a humongous warrior of change with connection. She's a vision elevating consciousness and uniting humanity. And let me tell you, uniting is exactly what she does through her beautiful connection. She is the visionary and founder of the Connection Lounge, an exciting new global transformation network with socials designed for creating deep connections. My number one breakthrough, by the way. She is a former Fortune 25 banking vice president who walked away from the corporate world in 2016 to follow her passions. Her life has been transformed through the deep connections she has formed during her world travels to over 70 countries. She cultivates joy through producing events and facilitating her signature healing modality. And I'm going to have to get her to say this, but Lomilomi Halaō. Lomilomi Halaō, an ancient Hawaiian Shamanic Bodywork performed as a rite of passage. She believes the journey inward is the golden key to unlock every dream. She embodies her philosophy of living your favorite, and is a proud resident of Maui, otherwise known as the heart chakra of the Hawaiian Islands. Like, woo! Welcome, Journey Jill. Welcome to the show.
Mahalo, Wendy. So happy to be here with you, talking about my favorite thing, high vibe connection.
Yeah, so tell me, did I say that correctly?
You got it close enough. It's Lomilomi Halaō.
Lomilomi Halaō. It has a beautiful frequency to it. What does that mean?
It's an ancient Hawaiian shamanic bodywork that is originated here in Hawaii. I actually was taught how to practice it in Australia a few years ago. But it is just this incredible body work where it brings in the elements of prayer and energy work into the body and really helps people transition from and release what's no longer serving them and really call in their highest self. and what they want to call into their life.
Wow, that's amazing. And so can you tell me, like, first tell me, how did you get into like high vibe connection, and certainly how did you get into that, what you just described? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So Lomilomi in Hawaiian, Lomi means to knead, to rub, to soothe, to work in and out as the paws of a connected cat. It could also mean to take and turn, to shift, as in the sacred shift within you that is inspired by the healing kahuna. So I just wanted to share that because I wasn't exactly describing what it was. And I really stumbled upon Lomilomi when I was in Australia. I had been invited to a birthdaval, which was like a birthday festival of this lady. And it was just this incredible experience of all of these amazing people. And I was more so attracted to the vibe of the people, right? They were just like, really, you were able to just feel it by being in their presence, and by celebrating with them, you could feel that elevated vibration. And so because I was attracted to that feeling, I was attracted to, what they were into. And so the lady whose birthday it was, my kumu, Iolani Grace, she was a Lomilomi facilitator and trainer. And so I started to attend some of her workshops, and then was attracted to attend one of her trainings. But more so because of who she be than me actually feeling like, oh, I want to be able to facilitate Lomilomi. I was attracted to the gifts that she was, that she was exuding, and wanted to be able to, absorb and embody those gifts as well.
Oh, okay. So how does that fit into a relationship with who you be? So tell us about who you be. Like, where are you coming from? I know I read your bio, which is incredible, and it's a massive transformation, but what does it look like now? Like, coming from the corporate space and the banking environment into a space where you're really living and breathing life into connection. Tell me, what did it take for you to go from the corporate environment to this?
It all started with a personal development workshop on living passionately. And when I started to really look at what is passion, what does passion look like for me, and how could I access that, and what would that look like, I went within. And in that moment, I got really clear on what I was passionate about. And I wasn't exactly sure. And I think that a lot of times the lack of clarity is the disconnection for a lot of people. And so I just made a commitment. I declared that I was going to do work that I was passionate about. And I wasn't sure how or when or I didn't know any of the details. I just made that declaration that I really wanted to feel alive, and I wanted to feel passionate and excited about what I did on a day-to-day basis. And I wasn't feeling that way in my banking job. So after making that declaration in 2015 in that workshop, just a couple weeks later, one of my good friends told me she was moving to Spain. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. And she said, come with me, manage my band, book us out a European tour. And it was like someone showed me this secret door to living life by design. And I became obsessed with the idea. And so then shortly after, I ended up leaving my banking career and went and moved to Europe and managed this band and booked them out. And then it just, that gig ended after a short amount of time, but I kept coming back to what am I really truly passionate about, and how do I get connected to that? And
wow.
And so through that search, the connection to Lomilomi is helping you get connected within, right? And so everything, it all starts with that inward connection that a lot of times I talk a lot about like feelings of loneliness or depression, and ultimately people will be thinking that it's going to be something outside of them that's going to bring them that connection or bring them that joy, but ultimately it's connection to themselves first, into the moment. Ooh. And likely some sort of spiritual connection that is like the foundation for all other connection.
Okay, so then let's lean right into that. What does that look like? What is that like when you're speaking of an internal connection? Like, what does that look like, and how do we identify it?
Yeah, it's. Thank you for asking, because I've been studying this, personally, just to really try to uncover exactly what does that mean. A lot of people say, even I had a quote that was like, if you want to create peace in the world, you have to start with peace within, right? And so how do you actually achieve that peace within, and how do you develop that connection? Some might say meditation, but then you start to like look at meditation and really how do you access that, and how do you actually go within? And I believe that the answer is meditation is a tool, just like there are many different tools of being able to develop the connection to your higher self, to your soul. It's essentially a spiritual quest that takes place. And there's a lot of, I think, confusion around really what is spirituality. And ultimately, I believe that it is that quest for the connection to your soul and understanding what your purpose is, what you're, getting connected to your vision, to helping you really feel that passion and creating meaning for your life.
Oh, that's so juicy. It's so, so juicy. So I'm always into meditation. That's something I've been doing near daily for almost 2 decades. So for me, that internal connection is really, really strong. And I'm wondering how it bridges the gap, because one of my biggest breakthroughs was deep connection. And I have that spiritual deep connection with myself and, an otherworldly higher intelligence. And yet I still got to have a humongous breakthrough in deep connection, what it looks like human to human. So how would you speak to that?
Yeah, so the first step is really getting connected to yourself, right? And like in the Connection Lounge, I essentially lead people through this experience, because a lot of times people are thinking that they want to get connected to other people, like that they want to network, that they want to mingle, that they, that it's like that something outside of them is going to bring them that joy. But ultimately, first you've got to be connected to yourself. So I lead people through what I call the mindful mix, which is movement first, right? So like the first step is getting out of your head and into your body. And you, I know, speak so much about this, like through the work that I've done with you, which is super powerful, I will say. And, like as we identify certain blocks, then it's like, where do you feel it in your body, right? So your body's holding on to so much. So you're getting into your body. And then there's the meditation piece, which is like really allowing for you to get connected to that meaning, right, to that peace and contentment, gratitude and acceptance within. And then you're ready to then be able to create these deep connections with other people. And that's where you are putting the ego aside and you're really allowing yourself to be coming from a place of service. And I think that I believe that the number one key to deep connection is listening.
Ooh, I can't wait to go further into that. So listen, we're coming up on a break, and we're going to go right into break right now. But when we come back, right, you've been listening to the Crossroads to Awakening show, And we've got a beautiful guest on Journey, Jill, who's going right deep into high vibe connection. So when we come back after this break, we're going to go right there for what you just said, okay? So we're going to go right into there. So we will be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the crossroads to awakening.
Hello. And it sounds like, are we still on the air? We've got just the most incredible moments going forward when it comes to having everything you've ever wanted when it comes to deep connection. So, Jill, tell us that last statement that you said with what is the key to deep connection? Can you repeat what you were saying?
Yeah, the deep connection key, the number one key is listening.
Listening. I mean, that is the last thing on the planet that I would expect you to say. So tell me more. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, first it starts with listening to yourself, like developing a language with your body, your mind, your spirit, right? Like, and listening to all of the cues that are coming up so that you're accessing your intuition, but then you utilize that same key, that same tool as you interact with other people, right? And if you really want to develop a deep connection with them, you show them that you care. And the way in which you can show them that you care is by listening to them.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, if nothing less, it's like ding, ding, ding. a big, like, it's almost like an alarm bell goes off because how often do you ask yourself, hey, am I really, truly listening? And if I am, like, what am I actually hearing? So, okay, what I'm hearing you say is the number one part to deep connection is an inward thing, like your deep connection to yourself, and it's could be a spiritual aspect as well, but you're going within and making that connection that you know that you've got you. And then the second thing would be listening. So you're speaking about listening to yourself as well, like listening to those inner nudges, listening to those voices, listening to the inklings that you're getting to move forward. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what you're hearing me say, because I believe that a lot of times, even your body, as you feel certain ailments or you feel certain things, it's a message. And taking the time to really understand what it's saying to you, it's a form of connection to yourself, but then like the same technique that you develop with yourself, then you apply it with other people. And it really takes being present to the moment and then present to that individual, I would say, is the kind of the precursor to the number one key, is like you've got to be present, and then you're able to access that deep connection through listening.
Okay, so once you've got that, is there a third aspect? Because I'm wondering what comes right after that. So like you're right on the cusp and you're listening and you've got your connection, you're listening to another person, you're deep listening. What comes after that?
It's ultimately, continuing to show them that you care. So it is being interested and being curious about what they're sharing, right? Allowing them, just like you're doing with me right now, You're just continuing to ask me questions, to go deeper and go deeper. So once the connection is established, if you guide it deeper by continuing to be curious and asking questions and not sharing your thoughts, but continuing to allow them to share, what's on their heart, what they believe, and, and from a non-judgmental space with complete acceptance, you listen and you ask more questions. You evoke from them what it is that they are passionate about.
Ooh, okay. So it's kind of like an ongoing thing. It requires the ultimate presence is what it feels like. So really getting present to you, connecting with you, deep listening to yourself, and then in that space of deep listening to yourself, then being open and being in an allowing space to connect with someone else, to have that same level of listening to them and being curious about them and hearing what they have to say and really getting a full picture of who you're connecting with so that you can have an honest, true, two-way street. Yeah? So what does it feel like on the other side? Like if you're the receiver of this deep connection, what might one be experiencing on the other side?
Ultimately, love, right? I think that the true essence of feeling love is present in the eyes of being seen and being heard. So if you are really giving your presence to someone and you're focused on them and you are seeing them and you are hearing them and you're allowing them to continue to share and you're receiving what it is that they're sharing, they are experiencing love.
I love that. I really love that. Because when it comes down to it, do we ever really break it down in that way? So, Jill, this is what I'm hearing you say. Deep connection equals love. And love equals deep connection, like true love equals deep connection. And it doesn't have to be true love in the, like, I need to fall in love with you to have true love. It can be simply like with your child or with a best friend or a friend or with a family member. And of course, with someone that you get to fall in love with or, even that aspect of being in love with someone, it can be on the holistic nature of, you know what, I love everything about them. I don't have to fall in love with them on the romantic aspect, but I can really truly be in love with a human and there isn't anything that I don't love about them. Is that what I'm hearing? Because it sounds so juicy and lovely for me. 100%.
Yeah, you're spot on. I'm experiencing love.
Just in this communication alone it's the example of what's possible, because for me, deep connection was actually actioning a reach out to someone to have a conversation and to be really present to that human, no matter what it took. So I got to practice that opportunity and really find out by accident that was something that I was missing, because I think we pop in and out of loneliness from interesting places. And when we start to look at it, we are always in curiosity, like, why do I feel so lonely when I've got all these people around me? And why do I feel so lonely when I'm, out in the world and I'm seeing people, but I actually feel, lonelier than I've ever been. And I had that at one point with my clients. I was so deeply connected to them when they were here, in my place of work where I brought them to, or we did sessions in person at one point, and I really felt deeply connected to them. And then when they left, I felt a sense of loneliness, like I wasn't actually deeply connected to me. And so I felt connected when someone was in the room, and then not connected and somewhat lonely when they were gone. And that really is what spurred one of my like massive awakenings, was being in that space where I just didn't get myself. And what I'm hearing you say today is like so profound, because it's really leaning into almost like curing loneliness in a sense, like really curing the loneliness of the heart, where it wasn't that I was alone, because there was lots of people around me. I had my family and our son and, you know, friends and all that kind of stuff, and business and clients. It went for miles, right, and neighbors. But I felt deeply alone, and that was what was missing for me, was that absolute deep, close connection with myself, the deep listening to what I wanted, and really like going there. I had an instinct to go there, and that's what caused my full awakening. And then it was further on down the road that I was able to discover what true deep connection really, really feels and looks like, right, from the outside and the inside. So what is your favorite story about like a deep connection moment, whether it's with you or someone you've worked with? What is your favorite story? Do you have one?
Oh, you know, it's funny that you asked that. You know, having traveled to over 70 countries, the number one question that I'm asked is, what is your favorite place? And I always steer away from that question by saying, you know, I encourage people to live their favorite, and that my favorite place is right here, right now, because if it wasn't here, then I would be there. And I would almost bring that forward to this question as well. Like, my favorite story, you know, is just to bring it to the present moment. I would say my favorite relevant story would be connecting with you, Wendy, and the path that we've been on together.
Oh my goodness. What an honor. Tell me more.
So, you know, through deep connection, just like what we were talking about, and I love what you started to bring forward with like reaching out to other people and everything, is like once you have listened to someone and you have like experienced love between one another, then it takes consistency for that relationship to stay deep and to stay connected. And it takes people trusting their intuition with reaching out to other people. So recently I had been feeling disconnected, and I wasn't feeling very hopeful, and I wasn't feeling motivated. I wasn't feeling, you know, that connection, that high vibration connection, which is like what I strive to embody. And it took you reaching out to me to, you know, to really breathe life back into me, and to show me that I'm loved, that I'm seen, that, you know, I have a purpose, that I have a calling, that you're able to see that, and, you know, and helping me move past those blocks that were there and re-embody my vision and help propel me to move forward.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Well, and you know, this is going to speak right directly to what you create with others, which is the deep connection. I truly do listen to my deep nudges. When something comes to mind for me, I don't take it lightly that it means something. Like, I just don't. I think, you know, there's a reason why this person is popping into my head. I don't know what it is, but I'm about to find out. And I literally pick up the phone and call. I don't know if I called you or left you a message, but that's how deeply I listen. Because in the middle of the chaos, right, in the middle of the day when a million things are going on and my desk is full of stuff and, you know, I've got stuff everywhere. I've got books on the floor and people calling and messages coming in, and there's so much stuff happening in the world, especially in my world. For that message, that deep message to arrive, it's got to be like going through a thick layer of stimulation from the outside physical world. So for it to actually make it into my reality as a nudge, as an inkling, or as an intuitive hit, I know that it's important. And so I don't pass it by. I listen and I act. And I don't need to know why it occurs or why it shows up for me. I just get to know that it shows up on purpose and I get to be a part of it. And I don't know if I'm called to connect just to get together, just to make connection, just to say hello, to send some love, create a business relationship. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm listening to that deep calling. And it almost, as I'm saying this out loud, it feels almost like what I would call bee mail, like brain mail, like something in your being, like being mail, right? Something in your being called the phone line to my being and said, hey, right, this would be really supportive, whatever this is, like this energetic arrival, and make that connection. So I've so thrilled, like I'm almost tripping over my tongue, with what this is, especially with you, because it's so magical, so playful, and so darn fun, for sure. So we're going to walk right into a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to dive into more. I have some more fun questions for you. So let's pop into a break. We're on Inspired Choices Network. You're listening to the Crossroads to Awakening show. I am Wendy Paquette, and we'll be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Journey Jill. So I'm sitting here going, I have so many questions floating through my head about what this looks like. But what I would love to do right now is I'm going to dive into, and I know you have a shorter span of time in this show just to finish up, and I know I get to honor that. So what I would love to know is all about your Connection Lounge. Can you tell us what the Connection Lounge is and what gets created there and why you created it?
Yes, thank you so much, Wendy. I am just loving this show. I'm a long-time listener to the show, so it's so great to be on here to be able to share and having you ask me these questions and be experiencing love and sharing our connection. Ultimately, that is the why behind the Connection Lounge, is that everyone gets to experience this level of love and love with themselves and then love with others, right? And so ultimately the Connection Lounge is an experience. It's a facilitated experience where we have socials twice a month. We gather on the new moon, which is an incredible opportunity. It's, indigenous cultures from around the world have been, meeting and circling with the lunar cycles because of the power associated with that time. I mean, you're even able to see it in farming. That's the time of planting seeds, right? So it's the time of release and intention setting. And then we'll be circling again on the full moon. So each month we'll be meeting twice a month to come together for the mindful mix, which is movement together as a group, and then meditation to really allow for us to get reconnected to ourselves, to our vision, to the moment, and then ready to connect with others. And then there will be facilitated connection opportunities with the other like-minded individuals that are called to that space. So whether people are looking for, a lover or a business partner or a mentor, all will be accessible within that experience, because you'll be getting super clear on what would best serve you. And then there will be a matchmaking element to the experience where you will be placed into small groups where you'll be able to dive deeper and essentially be mingling with a mastermind type of element to that connection experience.
Oh my goodness. I love it so much. It's so juicy. It's so juicy. So I'm going to 100% be the invitation, because I know you well, and I know it's possible, and I know the magic that you be, and I know the love that you be. And I'm going to put out the invitation for people to come to the Connection Lounge and be a part of this magical experience. I mean, let me tell you, this is a beautiful space right here. If you feel lonely, if you're feeling lonely, or if you're feeling disconnected, or if you're feeling like something's missing, if this is you, then you get to jump into the Connection Lounge and experience what it feels like to intentionally come together with others and be put through a series of, events and moments that lead you to experience connection like you've never connected before. That's how I see the Connection Lounge, and I see it from both sides, Jill. I see you as a human creating it, the source of all of it, and what you're incredibly capable of creating, and they're so powerful. And I also see your business and the life of it and what it actually creates for people in the world. So I'm being the invitation to that. It is incredible. I've actually got a ticket myself to be there, because I would never miss it, and I cannot wait to experience it so I can speak about it fully further from my own experience of what it feels like to be deeply connected. And let's just get clear on this. There is an element of trust. You get to trust that being connected with someone is activating something in you where you can be okay with, I'm going to meet some new people, and perhaps I may have something in common. And there's this feeling of exposure, you're actually going to open up and let someone see you so that you can connect. So there's all these juicy elements that make me so excited to talk about it, because I know what you're up to, and I know exactly where your heart is. And that's what truly creates magic in my world, when I can see that and evoke that and possibility. So what you've brought to the world, Jill, is something that's so magical. And I'll tell you, I don't know that there's very many people that aren't craving that, especially right now. Right now in this moment when the world is kind of still in hiding, and they're still finding themselves, and they're still hibernating in the space of COVID and what that looks like, and what it looks like for them, and how they get to see themselves in the world, and what their new reality could look like. And for me, living in this space of high vibration, it does look different. It looks like it's full of possibilities, and it's full of honoring, and it's full of trust, and it's full of leaning into your own power, so that you can bypass the space where you've been told what to do all your life into the space of, this is what I want my life to look like, and this is how I'm having it. And so perhaps connecting with other people of like-mindedness in the same space will pop that open. Maybe you'll make business connections. Maybe you'll make love connections. maybe you'll just make friend connections, which to me is the most beautiful space as well, because all things are possible when you're connecting. So I know I kind of rambled on about it, and it is your thing, but I'm so excited about it, Jill. I'm so thrilled to be a part of it in all the aspects that I am with you and to know you so well. So what things would you like to speak into it, like going in? I have these curiosities, and part of me wants to know everything, right? My analyzer side wants to ask a million detailed mechanical questions. And then there's part of me that is so freaking thrilled just to have the experience without knowing what's coming. Because you're like, oh yeah, you'll be match made into a thing where you get to pop into some rooms and connect with people. Oh my God, how exciting is that? Truly. So what can you speak to that doesn't divulge all the juicy details and kind of ruin the surprise, but what else is available for someone who goes through this? Like, what happens after? What happens after you've had this experience, and what do you get to do moving forward from there?
Yeah, thank you so much, Wendy, for just being so excited and being my number one fan with this. I've had this vision for over a year now, and earlier at the beginning of COVID, I was living in solitude at this retreat center for 3 months, and really was allowing myself to get connected to nature and to for essentially quote unquote the answers to come through. And the truth is, it has nothing to do with me, and it has everything to do with everyone that shows up. And it is an intentional, sacred, elegant experience. It's going to be like no other Zoom meeting you've ever been to, just in the sense of the space that's created and the invitation that is made to our ancestors and the custodians of the land, and just essentially the universe, right? Like we're really creating that deeper connection to all that is there, like the oneness, so that we're able to experience it in that moment. And I will say that it truly is going to be a co-creation based off of who's called forward to be in that space. And then afterwards, this is actually what I'm so excited about, because all of the past events that I've done, there hasn't been a next thing, but I'm actually creating a standalone social network for people to be able to post their events and their offerings, and essentially creating a marketplace within the community, so that people that are super clear on what they're offering to the world, they get to share it there so that other people know about how to jump into their offerings and get connected to them and hire them, essentially creating like a bulletin board experience within the community.
That's amazing. Truly, truly amazing. So, wow. So there is a next level thing. So not only will you get connected and get the opportunity to meet new people and find your voice inside of a space where there's other like-minded humans being in there as well, you'll get to move into a space where you can continue that socialization almost like next level. So you can keep coming back to the connection lounge, and you can also keep going and post your events and keep those connections going. So it's not just a one-time gig or a one-time thing. That is super cool. That makes me excited as well, because there's so much possibility in the world right now for others to join in, especially in a social perspective. That's amazing. So what I never thought, and I'm going to put you on the spot because I didn't really consider asking this for you before, and you don't have to put it out there right now. I'm gonna leave it out there for people to jump into the Connection Lounge. It's theconnectionlounge.com. And it's possible I'm going to be the live invitation for Jill to maybe create some kind of a welcome gift in the form of a small discount to jump into the Connection Lounge, only if you're a listener to the show. So perhaps Is that possible? I know I put you on the spot.
Yes, but. yes. No, I would love anybody that's listening to this is exactly who gets to be there. And I would love to offer a 50% discount to anyone that wants to join us on the 18th for the launch event.
Ooh.
And I'm creating a promo code right now that is Crossroads. Lowercase
oh, so juicy.
Crossroads.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jill. Wow. What a gift. That's a beautiful gift. Well, we'll be sharing this everywhere because in 8 short days, we will be experiencing the Connection Lounge, and I cannot wait to see who shows up there and who comes to play with us. So in honor of your time, Jill, I'm gonna bid adieu and thank you so much for being on the show. And I'm going to complete the show without you and speak right into what I know deep high vibe connection is. And I'm going to say thank you. I appreciate you. I honor you. And I'm blessed to know you. Thank you for sharing your high vibe connection with us here at Crossroads to Awakening and for all the viewers. And thank you for sharing the Connection Lounge and your beautiful offering of 50% off with the word Crossroads, all lowercase. I'm in gratitude for you, and I can't wait to bring you back on another time and have more fun talking about deep high vibe connection. So thank you so much, Jill.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Thank you. So moving forward, we're going to go right into a break, and when we come back, I'm going to speak about my version of what high vibe connection looks like and tell you what's going on here at the Crossroads Academy, which is the beautiful sister company of the Crossroads to Awakening. So we will be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Woohoo! Now we're back, and that was so high vibe. Seriously, the high vibe connection. It was really exciting to speak with Journey Jill about her Connection Lounge and what that creates. I can't wait to participate and see the beautiful humans that I get to meet there. I mean, who couldn't use more beautiful humans in the world? So I invite everyone to come for certain. And perhaps we'll end up in the same room together. So for this last segment of the show, I get to speak directly into that deep connection that I discovered when I was doing a thesis for a project, and the thesis was to do a workshop. And the workshop got to be on something that was really nice and stretchy for me so that I could, go through some breakthroughs in order to do the workshop. And I kept thinking, it's kind of lame because I'm a trained actor, singer, songwriter. That was my background. So for me, it's like performing. Workshop is like performance. And I'm thinking, wow, I got a mate. Like, it's going to be so simple where everyone has this massive fear of public speaking. I have this incredible joy in it. So I'm like, yeah, this is so good. I get to pick some really cool topic. And, the parameters of the workshop was it was 3 hours long. It was supposed to be 3 hours long, or got to be 3 hours long. I got to have minimum of 25 butts in the seats. And I got to facilitate from beginning to end an experiential workshop. So I'm like, bang on, awesome. I'm excited, easy peasy. I've got this. So I set my date. I set my title. On I roll. And what I realized is I asked myself this question. I'm like, okay, I get to have 25 butts in the seats. I wonder what that looks like. So somehow I ended up with this question in my head is if I asked the whole experience that someone they were guiding, right? And okay, reach out to people, get 41 yeses, 41 confirmations, and then that'll equate to 25 butts in the seats. And I'm like, well, that's weird. Like, why would 41 people say, yes, I'll be there, and only 25 actually show up? And so leaning into that is where my big-ass breakthrough came from, is because I asked myself the question, if I reached out to 25, even 40 people to ask them to come, and they said yes, could I guarantee that they would come? And would their butts be in the seat? Like, would I be able to graduate? And the answer I got was astounding for me. It was that no, I do not know if they would. I just don't know that. And in that moment, I realized deep connection is more than just knowing someone. It's more than just having friends and having family and having neighbors. It's deeply getting connected to them in a way that you've never been connected before, heart to heart, soul to soul, voice to voice, hand to hand, right? And hug to hug, which we haven't had for so long. Actually spending time getting to know someone, to deeply listen to that person, ask questions about what they're up to, and really care about them. And like Jill was saying, be in that space of love. And it wasn't until I realized that, and I got my butt moving. Like, it was a massive breakthrough. So I ended up having, I believe I had, I want to say 30 some odd yeses, and I ended up with 40 some odd people in the room. So I really do know the value of deep connection, and it truly changed the way I saw everything. That workshop that I thought was going to be so easy peasy, walk in the park, turned out to be the most beautiful breakthrough. It was never about the workshop. It was about the deep connections that I got to create with the beautiful humans that I love in my life, and allow them to get to know me like they've never known me before, because I just hadn't done that. I just hadn't. And that was evident when I asked myself, if I asked, even 25 or 40 people to come, would they actually show up? And I want to say that there's like 47 people ended up in the room. It was more than what committed to come. I might have had 43 yeses and 47 people in the room. And it was the biggest blessing that I have ever received, was knowing that the people in my life actually matter. And how they get to know that they matter is by creating this beautiful high vibe connection that can never be broken. And I get to maintain it like watering a beautiful flower that gets to live on and on and on. And so that's why I love Jill so much, why I love her high vibe connection, what she's creating, the world, what she's being. And this is what the Crossroads to Awakening really truly is. It's making those connections through the vibes of the radio and through the podcast. And it's the Crossroads Academy, where we actually bring you beautiful humans into the Crossroads Academy and allow you to have high vibe connections inside of there. Connect with other beings from around the globe who see the world as you do. Beautiful, bright, shiny possibilities that are just waiting for us to step into them. So my invitation is also find me on social media or through the Inspired Choices Network. Reach out. Let's get connected. Let's create that deep high vibe connection so you can never, ever feel alone in this world again. So that you can have the love just in a conversation that you get to feel that supersedes anyone physically standing in front of you, because you can feel that deep connection. So that's my invitation. Go to wendypaquette.com and send me a message and connect in that way. But find me somewhere, because I'm saying it out loud and you're not alone, and I truly believe that. So when you show up, so will I. That is my commitment to you. So I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Crossroads to Awakening. It has been my pleasure to be a part of your world in some way, and have a high vibe connection today. Who can you reach out to that you haven't spoke to in a long time and be a part of their world just because you decided to connect and reach out? So I send you all kinds of love, high vibes, and deep connection. We'll see you next week on the Crossroads to Awakening. It's been my honor to be here with you today. Mwah!
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Crossroads to Awakening radio show. Wendy Paquette will return next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We look forward to you joining us again. Until then, enjoy your journey and we'll meet you at the crossroads.